right now we're going to do Bucks versus Colts. And Bucks last year were 10-17. But they were quarterbacked by my guy. And we just spent the whole segment talking about a guy not wanting to go somewhere. You don't think the Browns wish they didn't pick Baker Mayfield? You don't think the Browns are looking back on that saying, damn, damn, damn. And Baker Mayfield is at the bank like this. I'm good. I'm good. The checks keep cashing. So that's why I use that as a transition, because that wasn't a marriage that was a bad marriage, but that was the franchise's fault, not the player's fault. The Bucks are a team that has drafted pretty well, I would say. Mike Evans appears headed to the Hall of Fame, but it all starts with their franchise quarterback in Baker Mayfield. He's got a modest new contract, correct me if I'm wrong, but last season he played well. The team was third in total yards. They were second in first downs, which is impressive. They were third in passing yards, second in passing TDs, which I was kind of blown away by that. I was surprised by that. I don't know if you knew that, but the stat that resonates with me, and you know how I feel about that, is plays per drive, and they were eighth in the league with 6.2. So that means every time they got the ball, they got at least one first down. Now, I wanted to quiz you and see if you knew who the offensive coordinator was for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Canales left, so it's not Canales. He's left. I'm gonna go with. I want to say it's a retread.
Well, why you think about that? That says a lot about the job Todd Bowles has done with coaching these players and because we have no idea who does what other than Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans. And I mean, you cover the NFL, so you'll know a little bit more. But as a casual NFL guy like myself, you're like, 41 passes? Who the heck? That's awful. What did I say last week? A division that is a testament to foolishness. So that's what it is. But I look at the Bucks this season, and I've already gone on record as saying I actually think the Falcons are going to win that division, and I stand on that. When I look at the Buccaneers schedule, when they open up, they don't have the most difficult schedule, but I like the Falcons to go 12-5. But I'm going to sit on the Bucks at about 9-8. I'm going to sit on about 9-8. They open up with the Falcons. Then they got the Texans, the Jets, but they got a tough game against the Eagles, Seahawks. I believe the 49ers will be better than what most people believe. Then they got the Lions, who I still think will be competitive. Then they got Saints, Pats, and Bills. Obviously, we think the Bills. Then you got Rams, Cardinals, and Saints. So they'll probably lose to the Rams. I think they beat the Cardinals, but, I believe that game is in Tampa Bay. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals in that, or go with the Bucks on that one. So, but then they like I said, their schedule to me is not difficult. The floor is yours.
See, I have them going 10-7. Sorry, Sam. So
I got 9-8. You got 10-7. So we're about what and what.
Yeah, and I can see it. Well, one thing I think the reason why I think their numbers were so good last year is they're in that division because you have the Panthers, and even though the Panthers somehow be like Superman against everybody, they play in the South. I think that's one reason why. The thing that has me really worried about the Buccaneers is their offense. And I looked it up. Josh Bridger, who was their passing game coordinator, was that one too. And I thought Canales, but I knew he was assistant, but it was Liam Cohen. The one thing that scares me is Chris Godwin. He's had a setback recently on that, on his injury, and I'm wondering, Mike Evans has done really well, and they have Sterling Shepard there because if you had Evans, and you had a healthy Godwin, and you had Sterling Shepard, I think you got one of the better trio of the wide receivers in the league with that. But now that you don't have Godwin, Shepard, we've seen what the Giants can be inconsistent at times. Now the onus is on Mike Evans to play Superman. Bucky Irving, the running back, he showed some flashes, and he did really well. But now if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm going to go, you know what? Let me put around 8 guys near, or put a safety near that line. I'm going to try to shut down your run game. I'm going to try to shut down your play action passing. And if I just know that you only have Mike Evans and Sterling Shepard's I'll just roll the guy over to basically effectively double team Mike Evans. And then how are you going to beat me? Baker, you're going to run around like crazy. So I look at that.
That's a gift that keeps giving when Baker leaves that pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, mush rush. I'm shocked more teams don't try to mush rush him. I know he's good in the pocket and I know he's good at deciphering some things, but if you mush rush him, and get your big defensive tackles to put their hands in the passing windows, that makes things tough. Is a lot of this discipline, but that's a whole nother story when teams try to go at it. I mean, I like the Hassan Reddick addition. I really do.
Really?
I think he's got stuff to prove. I think he's really mad, and I think he knows
He
this
had
might be
something to
his
prove
last year.
last year.
I, I think he was at a place he didn't even get to choose. That's why he was there. Like, if you go to New York, like, if you're a premier pass rusher that was at one point was like, yeah, I'm going to be with the Eagles and all that stuff. And like, you're used to going to playoffs, and then all of a sudden you get jettisoned to the Jets. It's like, eh. So the fact that he got to choose where he gets to go, and the fact you have him and Vita Vea together, and I just look at that. I look at that defense as still being decent. You got top both defensive minded guys, so I can see the Buccaneers making winning the division again. Will they make another noise in the playoffs? I don't see it, but I think they're in a good spot to at least be relevant, especially with that division they play in.
And we both agree that they'll be better than the Colts. I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's that. I think we both stand on that. So I got 9-8, you got 10-7. Not much of a difference there. My bigger question is, and it's going to remain: can Baker do it again? Like, can Baker do it again? He's done it, what, 2 seasons in Tampa Bay now?
mm-hmm.
So I think it's safe to say that, yeah, he can. So, yeah, we both agree that they go better than the Colts. The thing about the Colts, which is very interesting to me, you talked about something to prove. I think Daniel Jones has got something to prove. Does he have anything to prove that something with? Like, the Colts were an awful team. They were top 10 in a couple rushing statistics, top 10 in attempts, top 10 in yards, top 10 in touchdowns, and top 10 in yards per attempt. So that's worth a look. They were 30th in the NFL in yards per plays, snaps per play, or snaps per drive with 5.56. They were barely getting a first down. So more times now it's probably a penalty first down. So that screams volumes to me. I don't know if Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, but I don't know if Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones are good enough in the pocket to beat teams. Anthony Richardson tends to be a lot of feast or famine, and more times than not, you're going to starve. But I look at this team, and I'm not going to lie to you, Chris. I see barely 7-10. I see barely 7-10, man. What say you?
See, the problem with their offense is they have the skill positions.
The
They
problem
have
is
skill position. Yeah, it's the quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it doesn't matter who's going to be there. I worry about them being able to get the ball off. I have questions about their offensive line still as well too. Anthony Richardson with that shoulder injury, I just thought, and the fact you already have to limit him already early in training camp, and you got to monitor it. That gives me a lot of concern. And we've been seeing for a long time. You hope he puts it together. I mean, the MO of him coming out of college was he was going to need time to develop. And this is where I was really, yeah, I'm really against throwing guys out there just because they're young, just to experience it. I'm really against it. He was the type of quarterback that he needs the Michael Penix one. Really did. And probably longer. Probably needs the whole entire season now to get a sense of what's going on. And now he's developed bad habits bad. If you put Daniel Jones in, that the skill position is going to me. It's about the same as when he's with the Giants. You said to me, it's a downgrade. Jonathan Taylor's a really good running back. He's not Saquon Barkley, but at least I like Alec Pierce more as a second wide receiver and Jordan Pittman than opposed to what the Giants ran out. So to me, it's a net. You just know you're just waiting for Daniel Jones to make the dumb decision. And the problem is, I look at the Colts general manager Chris Ballard. The decisions he made in the last couple of years are going to get Shane Steichen fired. Because and I know Steichen probably has a lot of say who the quarterback is. Those things, there's no way of saving that. And the way the AFC South is with the Texans, I'm not saying the team down in Jacksonville at all. No, on that one too. And even the Titans are still like trying to do that one. Even in this division that like the AFC South, the NFC South is kind of they should be winning 9-10 games just based on the division alone. But you don't have a quarterback, you're not going anywhere. So yeah, I agree with your 7. 8's being generous, and unfortunately for Shane, I think he might be on the way out.
Yeah, I see. I'm looking at their schedule now. They got the Dolphins and Broncos at home. The Titans, I actually got that as a loss. I get the Rams on the road, also a loss. Then the Raiders at home. The Cardinals at home. The Chargers in LA, it's a loss. The Titans at home. Pittsburgh, that's a loss. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got Kansas City 5. Jacksonville 6. So it'll be between Seattle, Jacksonville, Houston, and Atlanta if they get to 10 losses.
And I'm saying this team's name, on not because I like him, but because what I've seen him do beforehand against a former system like this one too. Jonathan Gannon knew Shane Steichen's system very well. That's why I think they beat him up. The Cardinals beat up the Eagles because they figured out Brian Johnson. The Eagles was playing bad, but that kind of played that. He's very familiar from the time when Steichen. He's from the first time that Steichen with the Eagles. So I see them losing and with against the Raiders in Vegas. It's just a tough draw that they have, and yeah, this is not it's not looking good for him at all.
Yeah, and you said it's a tough draw for what they have. I
Yeah,
feel like Chris. I know it's a long pause off for TV, but I feel like it's just they got nothing. They just got nothing. Nothing you're interested in, nothing you care about, nobody you want to see, nothing that gets your juices bubbling. You know what I mean? Nobody that's like worth the price of admission. Final word on the subject for you.
see, I think they
That's
have
how I
a
feel.
Jonathan Taylor, if they didn't run him to the ground so much because he was their only offensive piece for like 3, 4 seasons of his career, he would have been. I think if they managed him better, and this is even before Spike game, managed him better, I think you get more out of him. The problem is he's breaking down, and all our running backs do that stuff. He's breaking down. We've seen he's not reliable to be on the field because he's been banged up over time as well too. Even going back to when he had his contract issue. So defensively, I think they have some pieces, but it's not a lot. And it's funny you mention that, like the whole other somebody did you want to see Taylor's the guy, but you don't know if he's going to be there like week to week. Can you rely on him? So there's just too many issues. How Chris Ballard still survives every single year as a general manager and does not get fired for
Because
putting
they're
out
eight
an
and nine.
product, it's crazy.
They're 8-9. They're not a wretched football.